Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to have you joining us today for our conversation with leadership. And joining me are the folks that I count on the most to help keep me correct in the information I share. I want to welcome Dr. Sanjay Rai, our Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Monica Brown, the Senior Vice President for Student Affairs, Ms. Donna Shenna, Senior Vice President for Administrative and Fiscal Services, and Mr. David Sears, Senior Vice President for Advancement and Community Engagement. I want to start off with some good news first. Our presidential dialogue series this year will feature our first guest on October 20th, and that's going to be Montgomery County Police Chief Marcus Jones. I'm so excited that in the wake of social protest against police violence, my conversation with Chief Marcus will speak to the heart of several issues that are taking place here in Montgomery County and certainly across the nation as a whole. The need for community policing that serves our neighborhoods is more vital than ever, and I'm very pleased that the chief is willing to sit down and have this dialogue with me. Now, I also want to give a shout out to our coronavirus advisory team, which has helped us to respond to our first positive COVID case in a classroom in record time. The planning and coordination that has gone over the last 6 months meant that the college did a fantastic job informing students on the campus rapidly, activating contact tracing systems, and disinfecting the areas affected. We always knew there was a risk of people falling ill who were attending class, which is why we started to host so few of them. At the same time, we want to be responsive to student needs for certifications and employment. So the college has put in place robust methods, which clearly worked as we had hoped. So thank you again to that team. Health and safety priorities continue to be the primary reason that the college will remain largely in remote operations this spring. First, I want to speak to the issue of the spring semester, as I know that there are lots of people very interested in what is being planned. As you know, we will shift to offering more 7-week courses. And as we anticipate moving into more face to face or in person learning after spring break, we plan to open fewer buildings on each campus. So facilities is going to be working with us to help us ensure disinfecting of our various spaces on regular intervals and to practice proper social distancing across all of our campuses. The schedule that is being designed will help with that in significant ways. The design of the schedule is also responding specifically to enrollment trends. One of our strengths, I believe, as a college is our ability to pivot quickly to serve our communities. A spike in enrollment in 7-week classes this summer and again in the fall inspired us to make this move. Our students have stressors that are impacting their ability to enroll, some of which are unpredictable. But we're seeing the outcomes in classes the students actually enroll in. We have an obligation, I believe, to follow the messages that our students are giving us. We also have made a promise to be fiscally responsible with our spending, and the 7-week schedule is a more sustainable one. Finally, as an institution, we are dependent on the county and the state. And as you know, we have already been put on a savings plan by the county for the next fiscal year, and we have had a rescission in this fiscal year of state funds. Now, economists are warning that FY22 will likely be even more constrained than the current environment is. But one economist I know called it, quote, a pandemic economy, and by which she meant is fundamentally unpredictable because we haven't seen these conditions in our lifetime. We're just not sure how people will react or how the labor market will respond. So being responsible means we have to pay attention to enrollment, be disciplined about spending and hiring, and certainly investing in people priorities in things like our talent share program. Now, one of the things we know is that our talent share program has been a topic of great discussion within our governance system. And David Sears, who serves as our liaison to the staff council, has been so thoughtful to bring back feedback to the SALT program. And in fact, we just talked about this not too long ago. So he's going to, one, share what we've heard. And Dave, if you could also talk about some of the things we're planning, I think might be useful. Dave?
Sure. So the staff council had a great discussion about the talent share program, and there was great interest in how they could participate in it. They asked a lot of good questions about how to better understand what it is, better understand how to access the program, ask questions about whether you could opt out of it, and then also some questions about how could they see where the greatest need is at the college to have a talent share participant be placed in that area. So what we're going to do in response to those great questions is hold a virtual conversation. We're going to work with our HR colleagues and give staff, faculty, administrators an opportunity to participate in that conversation. And then after that, we'll have a series of follow-up communications so that people can better understand what talent share is and what we hope to accomplish with it.
Thank you so much, Dave. Dave does such a great job of keeping us engaged around those issues. We have each of the SALT members serves as some component of a liaison to various councils and the staff council. Dave does a great job of bringing that feedback. So I wanted to let you know that we're hearing it. That's why governance works. And thank you, Dave, for that feedback. So we're going to dive right in. I want to get to the questions since this is what this event is all about. We received several questions around some of the same issues. So we've consolidated a few to try and make sure we get through all of them. We've also received some messages that didn't include a question, but folks just wanted to share their opinion on certain topics, which I really welcome. And I thank you for that and read them all. And I want to thank in particular the students in Megan Howard's English class who shared their thoughts with me. I do appreciate them, and I hope that some of your anxieties will be answered in today's session. So with that, I'm going to get right in. First question came from Ethan, and Ethan said, in the spring semester, will the courses be offered in the same format as fall semester, meaning will they be distance learning or structured remote, assuming there is restricted access to the college campus? Ethan, thank you for the question. MC will operate in a structured remote until March of 2021. In order to meet the college's needs and certainly the students' needs, most importantly, the college will decrease our 15-week offerings and deliver increasing numbers of 7-week courses through the structured remote format in spring of 2021. This will facilitate a movement back to face-to-face instruction, hopefully in the second half of that spring semester, if the health conditions improve and allow us to do so. Moving 15-week classes from remote to face-to-face, as well as in the middle semester, can be logistically more difficult for faculty and students, as well as our facilities teams, which has to manage all of the buildings, enhance cleaning procedures, and certainly advance our social distancing protocols. Sanjay, do you have anything you want to add to that? I know this is something near and dear to your heart.
No, Ethan, thank you for your question. In the spring semester, mostly our classes will be offered in distance learning format or structured remote format. We don't plan to come back to campus at least until March 22nd. Very few lab classes and some high touch classes will be offered on campus, there, but they will be very, very, very limited number.
Thank you, Sanjay. The next question came from Jacob Leftwich, and Jacob asked, I understand there will be 2 7-week sessions rather than one 15-week session for the most part. Will it be possible to take more credits than would be normal during a spring semester? Essentially, will it be possible to fit 2 semesters worth of credit into 2 7-week sessions? Will there be a limit on the number of credits students can take in either session? And I understand registration for spring 2021 will be available to view beginning October 19th. Will the registration be open for both sessions or just the first session? Great questions. Dr. Rye, Dr. Brown, I'm going to ask you all to respond to those.
So, first of all, Jacob, thank you for your question. Your question assumes that we'll be offering only 2 7-week sessions. That is not true. Actually, we have always offered 7-week sessions and 15-week sessions. Next spring will be the same. We'll be offering lots of classes in 15-week sessions and also in 7-week sessions. So if a student wants to take his or her entire course load in 15 weeks, that will be possible. Students who want to take more 7-week classes, they will have that option and flexibility as well. In fact, more courses are being offered in 15-week sessions compared to 7-week sessions. Courses like developmental English, ELAP, certain physics classes, Physics 262, 263, certain computer science classes, they are being offered only in 15-week sessions. What is different this year is that we are increasing more offerings of number of sections in 7-week sessions, and we are reducing number of sections offered in 15-week session. That is one difference. Once the students start registering for classes, we'll monitor trend. Wherever student demand is there, we will add more sections. And the areas where students are not registering, we will reduce sections in those areas as well. So you will have plenty of opportunity to take classes in 15-week or 7-week sessions. You can register for those classes at the same time. When registration begins in October, you will be able to register for 15-week classes and 7-week classes as well. There will be limitations on number of credits that students can take within one 7-week session and in combination with 15-week sessions. So you will not be able to take 2 semester worth of classes in one semester. You should not do that. Our academic recs group, faculty group is working on that, and they will come up with guidance for students that get given at any time how many 7-week classes and how many 15-week classes a student can take in the spring semester.
Thank you, Dr. Rye. Anything, Dr. Brown, you'd like to add to that? Because I know you all are working with the faculty now. Our academic regs, as Dr. Rye mentioned, that you might want to talk about in that space.
Sure, I'll just add to what Dr. Raya said. As we anticipate there being a 2-class limit, I think it's important for students to understand that while they may have a temptation to load up on classes with the idea that you can earn more credits during this time, we all have our limits, and with more intensive classes comes more time for preparation and assignments. And that's why we have limits to the number of credits that a student can carry. Even in 15-week sessions, there are limits with very few exceptions. And so, as has been said, students can register for up to, we anticipate, 2 classes in both 7-week sessions for a total of 12 credits, as well as the 12 credit limit in the 15-week session, again, with very few exceptions. As we know, our academic regulations committee is looking into that and will provide guidelines for us.
That's such a great point, and thank you, Dr. Brown. I think the next question is from another student who is wanting to start planning. So when do I need to sign up for classes for the spring semester? When is the best time to meet with a counselor, or I'll even say a program advisor, to set up my schedule and classes for the spring? Dr. Brown, do you want to take that first? And then Dr. Rye, if you want to add something, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I am often heard saying that students should meet with an advisor often and as soon as possible. In this case, students should sign up for the next semester before they leave for the end of the fall semester. Please sign up for your spring semester classes before you leave for the end of the fall semester. Try to make an advising appointment as soon as you can so you can avoid longer wait times during the peak enrollment period. Also, earlier registration gives you a better chance of getting the sections and schedule that you desire.
Dr. Rye, anything you want to add to that?
No, absolutely. I will encourage students meeting with counselors or academic program advisors as soon as possible. Registration will start around October 19, I think. You should make sure you are talking to your advisors and counselors before that. As soon as registration opens, make sure you register for your classes. I will say that don't wait until the final exams. Try to register sooner. That would help everyone.
You know, one of the things I remember when I was in school, we always had this thing that try to register for spring by Thanksgiving. So that way you'd have that taken care of. So you'd have, you could be grateful for your spring schedule when you went over the turkey or whatever the case would be in your family. A similar question came from Teresa, and she says, what would be the credit limits? I know you just mentioned that, but she speaks specifically around the fact that she and many of her colleagues are STEM students, and a 7 credit limit may not be helpful as they may see in the summer. Dr. Brown and Dr. Rye, what would you say to Teresa about this?
I'll restate that we're in the process of determining this, but our plan is that 2 classes will be the limit for the 7 week sessions. Dr. Rye?
Absolutely right. I think our faculty is working on that. Uh, I understand your question, Teresa, of 7 credit limit because sometimes two STEM classes may increase that 7 credit limit. Wait for faculty guidance to come up. Most likely, you will be able to take 2 classes, 2 STEM classes in a given semester.
Excellent. Let's go to the next question that we have from student Jessica. When will Montgomery College open clinicals to all healthcare students, such as ultrasound? Dr. Rai.
So, as you know, this is something that depends on our accreditation and regulatory bodies and our healthcare providers and hospitals in this area. Our Dean of Health Sciences and our faculty are working very, very closely to make sure that these clinical sites become available for our students as soon as possible. Unfortunately, at this time, these clinical sites are not available. So we are waiting. We are in constant conversation with these clinical sites providers, hospitals, outpatient areas. As soon as they become available, we will start providing these opportunities for our students.
So I think your response speaks to her second question. Is the college preventing us from going to clinicals, or is it the clinical sites? Since I'm unable to work during my program, what is the graduation plan and the reopening clinicals plan for students in the healthcare program? Because I think this is obviously an important issue for many students, but I think they don't always understand the locus of control in this. So, Dr. Rod?
So I think as a community, we are dealing with pandemic together. Our clinical sites providers and the college, we are all working together. We are all facing this situation together. But let me make it very clear, college is not preventing this, but we also understand the reasons why our hospitals and outpatient areas are not able to provide us the clinical sites at this time. And that is not the situation only with Montgomery College. This is an issue that's there mostly throughout the state and also in other parts of the country.
So her last question, I think, is an interesting one as well. Currently, she says, my graduation has been delayed almost a whole year and is dependent on the clinicals. Currently, my graduation she has been delayed. This is important because she needs to support her family. Without providing clinicals, is MC at risk for losing their accreditation?
So let me assure you, MC is not at the risk of losing accreditation. As higher education group in the state, we are all working with the same issues. Unfortunately, at this time, clinical rotations are not possible, and we're just waiting for things to improve. And as soon as things improve, we will start clinical rotations as well.
And I think the important part about that, as soon as the clinical sites are able to accept our students. Those of you who may go visit someone in a hospital, or if you have your own medical appointments, you know that those are very much restricted in who's able to go into those spaces. So this is the same thing. The hospitals are trying to contain the virus and not bring it into their facilities. So as a result of that, they very much limited who is able to come in. So we are working at the state level, working with the accrediting agencies. They're all very much aware of this. And at this particular point, as we know, we're living in a healthcare pandemic right now. And this is something that is affecting all students in all health programs across the nation. This is not just a Montgomery College issue. And as soon as we have better opportunities to provide to you, we will certainly be making that happen, because the faculty and program leadership are working diligently with both the accrediting bodies and those clinical sites. Let me go to the next question from Professor Susan Blumen, who says, has anyone considered the increased rate at which many of our students fail when they take 7-week classes versus 15-week classes? Has anyone run those numbers? And I would like to hear Salt's thinking on this. What have the students said about 70% online and 7-week classes for the spring 2021? They may not have been surveyed directly about this, but they communicated about this, and what have we heard at SALT? So obviously, I think, Susan, thank you for the question. Clearly, student success is a very large part of the decision in terms of what we try to do as we prepare for the spring semester. In fact, one of the things I'm probably most concerned about in this pandemic is that, and this is just a national conversation I've been in with some folks as well, while we're all trying to be reactive and responsive to what's happening in the healthcare pandemic that we're in right now, we are very much needing to remain vigilant and focused around our goals and student success. And oftentimes, when you're trying to focus on one crisis, you forget about the other. And what I think has been important at Montgomery College, we've lifted and amplified our conversations at both. So we have been attuned, obviously, to the fiscal responsibilities that we have, attuned to the student success responsibilities. We've had to absorb considerable costs as it relates to the pandemic. We've had to be very careful about our spending. We've had to do very limited hiring, and we've had to be very strategic about our enrollment management. This one matters, because if our students are enrolling in large numbers in 7-week classes, then we need to pivot in that direction. And that's what the data is telling us. When we look at the data in terms of the summer and the fall semester, our 7-week courses in summer, we were up 11% in enrollment. And this fall, we saw, I think, a 15% increase in terms of 7-week classes filling up at a faster rate than we saw 15-week classes. In fact, 15-week classes were filled at much slower rates than we had. So I know that all people don't feel the same way about this. We know that our student learners have different perspectives on this. So I'm going to let Drs. Ryan Brown take specific questions about what the students have told them. But that's at the macro level, Susan, some of the things that we've been thinking about. Monica, might you want to start first on that?
Sure, Dr. Pollard. So to be frank, I don't think we have any solid data on student success in 7 versus 15-week sessions. However, Student Affairs did a survey of pandemic impacts to which 1,300 students responded, with 49% preferring 15-week courses and 51% preferring 7-week courses, or a combination of 7-week and 15-week courses, with about a 3% margin of error. More importantly, the extent to which students choose classes that are 7 weeks may say more about the realities of their lives, and the clear preference for 7-week classes has inspired us to go in this direction. We also need to be aware that enrollment is 30% of our budget, so it is taking on more significance as we anticipate fiscal constraints in FY22. You may have seen that a number of Maryland colleges have already put temporary salary reductions in place just to balance their books.
And that's in FY21. They haven't even started thinking or having to plan yet for FY22. Dr. Rye, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to this in terms of what we may see in terms of student success data, because Dr. Brown, I really appreciate that data that you just shared about what students have been telling us about their preferences.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Pollard. I think it's an important question. I would like to go back to what Dr. Brown just said. The 7-week data that we have right now is from very small number of sections. So if I give you an example of a certain course that we taught in fall 2019 with about 5 sections. If the same course in 15 and 13 week we had let's say 100 sections. So comparing data, student success data on 100 sections versus 5 sections is not the best way to understand the student success, because whenever we offer very small number of sections, DFW rate, what we notice is often depends on instructor variations. But if you look at the same courses in summer or winter, we see that student success rates are comparable. So if you look at 13-week and 15-week classes and student success rates or DFW rates in those classes, and compare that with our summer offerings or winter offerings, then you will see that student success rates are comparable and about the same. So generally, comparing a large data set with a small data set, you can see why those conclusions or comparisons could be problematic.
Thank you for that. And Sanjay, I'm going to ask you to take the next question that has come from Professor Diane Chapin, I believe it is. We are innovating 7-week classes because we think they would be well received by our students. But how about our professors, especially the 60% of our faculty who are adjunct professors? 7-week classes mean that adjuncts may have to go several months without a paycheck. And while they're going without a paycheck, adjuncts won't even know for several months if a 7-week class will run. This is a hardship for many and makes it impossible to make wise financial choices. I suggest the full-time professors with guaranteed loads should teach all of the 7-week classes. Frankly, when a business undertakes a known risk, it is the company that should bear the risk, not its employees or its students. Dr. Rai, we're going to talk about assignment of classes.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Pollard. And Diane, thank you for your question. We are at Montgomery College. We are very, very fortunate to have really outstanding, dedicated, and committed part-time faculty. About 40% of our classes are taught by part-time faculty. This entire effort of increasing 7-week classes in the spring is certainly is about making sure that our enrollments do not go down further. As the slides earlier in this presentation showed, that this fall we are about 6% down in credit hours compared to last fall. So, but if you look at last 4-5 years, so if we were down by 6% just this fall, then we can probably absorb that kind of decrease. But this decline is coming on the back of last 4-5 years of continuous decline. So unless we make some changes to capture more enrollment in a spring semester, as you know, from fall to spring, we again lose students. So if we are down by 6% now, and if we don't make any changes, and the same trend continues, that students prefer 7-week classes about 15% higher, and 15-week classes about 10% lower, then we may lose up to 10% of or more of our enrollment in spring semester compared to spring 2020. That will mean a lot of class cancellations Imagine if we lose 10% of our sections that we offer. That will impact entire institutions, but certainly it will impact our part-time faculty colleagues. So by switching or increasing 7 week classes, we believe that this will help everyone, especially our part-time faculty. In terms of assignment of who should teach which classes, this is done by department chairs and deans, and they look at faculty expertise and make decisions based on who should teach what classes in what format and things of that nature. So I will strongly encourage you to have a conversation with your department chair and dean about your teaching assignment for the spring semester.
And I also have to say, Diane, I appreciated your recognition that Montgomery College does have elements of business. It is a business. I know I said this some years ago, and it got into a lot of controversy within the college community. And it has been very interesting to me that we're very inconsistent when we want to see the college as a business, or when we want to see it as an organization that has this profound mission. But none of us, as I've said this before, work here for free. We have significant expenses that we have to do. And the college has done, I think, a lot to absorb, going to the last statement you made, Diane, some of the known risk. And we've done some things, I think, that will mark us very distinctive compared to what you might see in other sectors. We have not passed the cost on to students. In fact, the board made very distinct efforts this past year not to increase tuition and fees. We held employees harmless. So even in the midst of this remote working environment, the college has assumed some cost associated with that. All of the costs that will go in bringing us back to campuses when we are there full time, or some configuration of that, the college will have to absorb those costs. And we have not passed those on to students or employees. In fact, we'll talk a little bit more later about some of the things we have done here. So I think it's important, and I need to say this very deliberately. We are in a moment, the pandemic economy, where there are more unknowns than there are knowns. And part of this is going to be that we can't just simply say that community colleges as a sector are agile and flexible. We're going to have to demonstrate that. We're going to have to try some things out, and then we're going to have to see if they respond and stick. And if they don't, we're going to try something different out. Because this is a moment in which those of us who actually are able to challenge some of the traditional orthodoxies, those of us who are willing to say that what we are willing to assume is risk and what things we're not willing to assume is risk, that we still place the potency and the power on mission, and we think deliberately about the outcomes we want students to have. All of those things will demand that we challenge ourselves to think a little bit differently about not only how we do our work, how we deliver our work, and the ways in which we structure that work so that we can reach the outcomes that we need to. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation. The Board of Trustees has been engaged in that. I've been very deliberate with our senior administrative teams about this, and I'm hopeful that you're having those same conversations yourself within your departments, because this is not a situation that's going to easily be resolved, but it's one that all of us are in together. The next question, I think, illustrates this, and I'm going to ask Donna to get ready to respond to it. And I'll tag in, as I seem to be doing right now. Several students, as well as employees of the college, have inquired about a possible parking credit from the time of the spring shutdown. It was seen that this is a basic fairness given access to the college, and parking was understandably denied. Will students and employees receive this credit? Professor Griffin has asked. Ms. Shenna.
Thank you, Dr. Pollard. So I'd like to put a little context around it. Dr. Pollard has shared a lot of information about the challenges that we know that we have today. We don't know what tomorrow brings, and we have to think about that. We know 22 is going to be difficult and really extend to 23 and 24. So the important thing is, from the very beginning of this pandemic, we have worked very hard to hold our students and our employees harmless. We did not raise tuition and fees this year for our students. And we also were able to move forward with salary increases for our employees because that was planned and budgeted for FY21. And we do have ongoing expenses that really it's a difficult balancing act, quite frankly, and we pay attention to it constantly every day. We cannot waive or refund the parking fees, the transportation fee, and the major facility fund fee. The reason we cannot do that is that we used bonds to pay for parking structures and infrastructures. And a bond is a type of a loan to finance these projects or operations. And that's what we did for those structures. And within the bond, there are terms called covenants. And in our covenants with our bonds, it says that we cannot waive these fees. So we can't waive them. We understand it's a challenge for people to come up with a lot of the living expenses that are going on right now. And at the beginning of this and ongoing even now, we have provided student emergency funds. We've allocated dollars within our budget. We didn't do our in-person graduation last spring. We were able to reallocate those funds for technology needs for both our students and our employees. So that's that focus on holding harmless. And so if you're having issues going to school and paying the tuition and fees, again, we have not raised them. We're going to hold them as low as we can for absolutely as long as we can. Then go to our coronavirus webpage, and there is an application there for students to request for emergency funds. Let me put another little piece of context around this. Think of these fees that we charge, that we must charge to keep the operations of the college going and pay for the costs that we've incurred as a result of the pandemic. Think of it as insurance. You pay for your insurance and you may not use it, but it's there when you do need it. And so that's probably kind of a good analogy to think about these fees that are bundled in with our tuition.
That's a great one. And this next question, I think Donna will give you an opportunity to even respond a little bit further on this. And it says from a student, Ariana, she says, I am reaching out to you regarding the fees, like transportation fee, the technology fee, major facilities fee, etc., that we as students are required to pay to Montgomery College. While I understand that under normal circumstances, these fees are vital as they assist in maintaining the sort of symbiosis, that exists at the college, we should not have to pay these fees as long as most of us are not benefiting from these facilities or services currently. COVID-19 has impeded the traditional use of most of the facilities and services on the campus as is appropriate. So why are we still made to pay for something that we would not be able to use? Again, this is not fair. And let me I'm going to toss it to you, Donna, but I think it's a very interesting question about equity and fairness. And this idea of recognizing that these fees are particularly complex. They oftentimes are helping to subsidize expenses across the organization that we have committed to over a long period of time. Sometimes fees that you may not even access, as Donna mentioned earlier, but they still have commitments behind them, such as salaries in some cases, bond covenants that we're responsible for. So this issue of equity and fairness is an important one, but I think it lacks some of the broader context around how a college's budget is developed, and more importantly, how it is seen as a consumable in any particular year. So Donna, maybe I give you an opportunity if you have more to offer. I know you said quite a bit that responded to this, but I think there's some really important points about the FY22 budget and maybe future budgets you might want to speak to.
Sure. So I want to reiterate that many of the college's expenditures are fixed. We are in the people business in higher education, and 80% of our budget is our employees, and 20% is left for the operations of the college. So those are fixed costs that we need to do. We have building maintenance, our grounds. We have vast, rich resources on our campuses, and it costs to maintain them. We have those costs right now, even though we have very, very few people on campus. The costs that we incur are the same as they were before we went into this pandemic. And we have the additional cost now of responding to the pandemic and making sure that our campuses are safe and that we are ready for the gradual return when our campuses are safe of our faculty, our staff, and our students. FY21 was planned and budgeted. And so we have held to those commitments that were planned in there. 22, we don't know. We're not going to see a just spike to recovery. It is going to be slow and gradual. And I think you can look at the response that Montgomery County has had in keeping our county safe. It's been a slow, deliberate response, really making sure that all the residents of this county are safe. We're aligned with that. We find that very, very important. The response to the pandemic is going to be, from a financial perspective, it is our opinion, it's going to be a slow one. We're going to feel it in 22. We're going to learn, the county's going to learn, the state's going to learn what the cost of this pandemic has been as we go through this year. And we will have to respond to that, as the county will have to respond to that. And so we feel like we've positioned ourselves, we're maintaining cost savings while we have ongoing expenditures, and we need to be prepared that it's not going to be 22 and it's over. This is going to be a slow recovery into 23 and I believe 24 as well.
Thank you very much for that, Donna. And you can see we had another question in a similar vein from Chelsea. And maybe I'm going to ask, after I pose it, if Dave might speak to maybe what some resources are that may help. And if you have anything else you want to add, feel free to do so. But I was wondering, Chelsea says, if MC will be able to refund students this semester for fees that that were charged due to remote learning. These or maybe that were changed. These fees include the transportation fee, major facilities fee, and consolidated fee, which are an inconvenience to many students because we as students, or at least the vast majority, will not be attending class on campus. I think you probably talked at nauseam a little bit about this, Donna, and your responses. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, but I'll give you a break to see if Dave could talk a little bit about resources that we have available to help students for these fees and other expenses they have. Dave?
Thank you. Just want to let students know that we have two sources of support for them if they're in need of assistance. So as Donna mentioned earlier, if you need student emergency assistance, go to the coronavirus page. There's a link there to the Foundation Student Assistance. It's a very simple application to fill out online. And the foundation usually is able to respond within about 2 weeks. You can request anything from rent to food assistance to a computer voucher, books. We've been able to, through the good work of our foundation and our development officers, been able to raise a good amount of money for assistance. And please make sure that you apply if you need it. The second source of funding is the CARES Act. So we were able last spring to distribute CARES Act funds for student assistance, and we'll be doing that again this fall. And that money is available to Title IV eligible students. Students can speak with the Student Affairs Office about whether they are Title IV eligible or not. And there's a form to fill out for that. And if you're not eligible, please go to the foundation. The foundation supports all students, whether they are Title IV eligible or not. If you're a DACA student, Dreamer student, fill out the form for the foundation.
Thank you, Dave. I think those are great resources. I really want to encourage students to take advantage of those. Donna, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, or I'll make a pivot to the PE building.
I think you can pivot to the PE building.
All right. Yeah, one of our other favorite topics. Colette asked, we are having a hard time getting information on what repairs were completed while the PE building on Rockville's campus was closed. A few of us are extremely concerned about the mold, as we have health conditions that were exacerbated by the amount of mold we were exposed to after the roof replacement. I have a severe mold allergy and was already getting an allergy shot before this. Yet I was extremely sick from September to December of 2019, and a new mold allergy has since developed. What, if anything, was done about the amount of mold in the PE building? Ms. Donna, can you talk about this?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Colette, for your question. Prior to going out on March 13th, we really had that building abated and all the associated risks mitigated. In fact, we were in the final stages of planning a return reception for the faculty and staff who reside in the PE building. So all of that work was completed. All requested work orders, they were completed. We've done multiple tests to ensure that the air, the environment, the mold is no longer in the building. All the tests have come back negative. And for hazardous materials, we tested for all kinds of things. And again, the results are in and they're posted on the website. Facilities has been monitoring all of these buildings throughout this pandemic, and the building is ready to be reopened when we can safely reopen it as a result of the pandemic. What I will tell you is that we will do another air quality test in that building before we allow faculty and staff back in the building. One, because of the history we have with the building, the concern that you have expressed. We fully expect those tests to come back negative as they have, but we need to make sure that you have the assurance that we've tested it one last time before we allow individuals back into the building.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. The next question comes from Kim Potter, and Kim asked, we are all trying to help students be successful in all of their classes and minimize DFW rates. I believe the college needs to be more transparent when offering online and or SRT courses. During this period of SRT and online courses, I have been providing embedded support to several classes. I've seen students unable to complete assignments and drop out due to frustration at using outdated computers and software. Some students are even trying to do work on their mobile devices, such as phones and tablets. And some students enrolled in courses that required specialized software often need newer computers and operating systems to run said software virtually. What are we doing to communicate technology needs that are required? And I really want to thank Kim. She gave a long list of suggestions that I won't read all of them here, but she gave about 5 or 6 different things that we could do. And I'd love to hear from Donna some of the efforts that we have made in this space, even as we take on some additional suggestions that you've made. Donna?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Pollard. And Kim, thank you so much for your question and also the suggestions. Faculty have to clearly specify the course software requirements so that IT can procure that. OIT supports and makes available to our faculty and students either through cloud-based software that we have, but also you can put in request if you don't have the software that you need to IT. Another means that OIT has put in place is a virtual desktop infrastructure. And using this, a student can access through their browser, such as Chrome and Firefox for Windows or Safari for the Mac. They can access numerous software applications located on the campuses. Some courses currently using this method include math, engineering, general studies, and OIT has sent instructions at the start of the fall semester on how to use the VDI for remote access to these numerous applications. You must let OIT know what you need in advance, and they will work to ensure that our students have what they need to be successful in the classroom. And the easiest way to communicate is through the IT service desk.
Thank you for that. And Kim, I really appreciated the suggestions you had, because a lot of it really speaks to the fact of the college just being very intentional about putting software and system needs for students as they're trying to configure. And many of them are using resources from the college that we're providing to secure technologies. Dave, might you talk a little bit about what we're doing and how we're using some of those resources we have to do that?
Yeah, so I would just add to what I said earlier about student assistance related to technology is we also received a number of laptop donations from AstraZeneca. We got support from Wells Fargo to help with internet access. Um, Dr. Rye did a phenomenal job of working with donors for additional laptops. And those were the laptops that could be used in those more sophisticated, more advanced programs like engineering that needed those. So again, we encourage those students to apply through the Student Assistance Fund through the link on the coronavirus webpage. And we will do everything possible to support the students with the technology they need.
Thank you. And I think the thing that I would offer with that is the clear recognition that there's always an opportunity for us to do better. So I appreciate all of the suggestions you had, Kim, about how we can better share information with students, but then also as us an organization to continue to advocate and lobby for our needs and lobby for the needs of our students. I want to thank you all for joining us today and participating in this conversation. I continue to be so grateful to work with this senior administrative leadership team and the rest who are not with us on the call here. We had some terrific questions. I think you would agree. And we also have a robust FAQ section on the coronavirus website. So for more information, for developing questions, please go there. You'll see them there, and hopefully we can respond to them. And I also have lots of you who send me emails, so feel free to do that. And between me and a whole plethora of people who help, we'll make sure we get those answers to you. Let me end by saying that I'm tremendously proud of the college and this mission and what we've been able to do thus far to get to this moment. COVID-19 has been something that none of us were prepared for, but I'd like to think that Montgomery College was better positioned based on some of the decisions we've made over the last several years. But it is going to be incumbent upon all of us to continue to work together more closely to prevent infection and to support students and also to support each other. As we move into the next phase, I'm very hopeful that we'll be adapting and moving forward with more face-to-face learning and working. But we know this is all dependent on the external conditions and how well everyone practices health protocols because we want to be very careful. I also want to end by telling us, and I think this is something that I'm trying to practice more and more, even in all of this crazy, one of the things that we have to continue to focus on is graciousness and gratitude. Kindness is important. Sometimes I am amazed at the generosity that I see exhibited by us to our peers, to our students. I know we have employees that are working tremendous numbers of hours, are exhausted. Their eyes are not doing well because they're spending all of their time in these spaces. They're hoarse from talking over the phone all the time. And I understand that we're doing this and we're in this together. All I ask is that in those moments of fatigue, in those moments when you're trying to figure out just what is going on, that we practice graciousness toward each other and maybe attribute an error to the fact that someone didn't know a fact or an answer, perhaps attribute it to the fact that they are trying to learn more and be better. And sometimes you have to attribute to that they just had a bad day that day and they misspoke. But I'm hopeful that all of us are trying to be the best that we can in this space, practicing graciousness and gratitude and kindness and being very clear about how we do our work. In the end, I choose to be at Montgomery College because I know very few places can do this better than what we're doing. And I work with an incomparable set of colleagues from our faculty, our staff, and our administration, serving some of the best students in the country who choose Montgomery College for its post-secondary needs. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I look forward to hearing your feedback and responding to questions you may have further. Until the next time, be well, wear your face coverings, wash your hands, and stay at home. Take care.